I never thought one mistake could shatter my entire life, but when temptation whispered in my ear, I made a choice I would regret forever. The thrill, the secrecy, it felt like a dream, until reality hit me like a freight train. My wife found out. The confrontation, the tears, the anger, I lost everything in a single moment. Was it worth it? Absolutely not. Now, I live with the consequences of my own betrayal. But what happened next? That's where the real story begins. Stay with me as I reveal the full confession of my biggest regret. Regret is a slow, consuming fire. It doesn't burn you all at once. It takes its time, eating away at you piece by piece until all that's left is the empty shell of the person you used to be. I never thought I would be the man who destroyed his own life. I never thought I would be the man who shattered the heart of the woman who loved me more than anyone else ever could. But here I am, broken, drowning in my own mistakes, left only with the memories of a life I threw away. It all started so innocently, or at least that's the lie I told myself. A harmless conversation, a friendly smile, a little laughter shared with someone who wasn't my wife. I convinced myself it was nothing, just casual, just friendly. But deep down, I knew better. There was a dangerous excitement in the way she looked at me, the way her touch lingered just a little too long. And I let it happen. My marriage was never bad. My wife was a good woman. She was kind, patient, and loving. She stood by me in my worst moments, supported me when I doubted myself, and celebrated every success as if it were her own. But I let boredom whisper lies into my ear. I let my ego convince me that I deserved more, that I deserved excitement. And that's how it started. At first, it was nothing more than secret conversations, stolen glances, and the thrill of knowing. I was doing something I shouldn't. The rush of adrenaline was intoxicating. My heart raced every time my phone lit up with her name. The texts turned into phone calls. The phone calls turned into late-night meetings. And then, one night, I crossed the line completely. I remember every detail of that night. The way my hands trembled, the way my heart pounded in my chest, the way I told myself it didn't mean anything even as I ruined everything. The moment it was over, I felt the weight of my mistake crushing down on me. I told myself it was a one-time thing, that it would never happen again, that I could pretend it never happened. But affairs don't work like that. Once you cross that line, there's no going back. The guilt should have been enough to stop me, but instead, I let myself get caught in the cycle of addiction. The secrecy, the thrill, the danger, it made me feel invincible. And the more I lied, the easier it became. But secrets have a way of coming to light. My wife wasn't stupid. She noticed the changes. She saw the way I was always distracted, the way I suddenly guarded my phone like a lifeline, the way I stopped looking at her the same way I used to. She asked me if something was wrong. She asked me if I was happy, and every time I lied to her face. Then, one night, everything fell apart. I walked into our bedroom, expecting to find her asleep, but she wasn't in bed. She was sitting on the floor, phone in her hands, eyes red and swollen from crying. My phone. She had gone through my messages. She had seen everything. When she looked at me, she didn't yell. She didn't throw things or curse or demand an explanation. She just looked empty, like something inside her had died. And in that moment, I felt something inside me die too. She asked me one question, just one. Was she worth it? And I had no answer, because the truth was, she wasn't. No one was. Nothing was worth the pain I saw in my wife's eyes that night. Nothing was worth losing the one person who had loved me unconditionally. She packed her things that night. I tried. To stop her, I begged her to stay. I swore I would fix it. But she didn't believe me. And honestly, I didn't believe myself either. The next morning, she was gone. At first, I thought I would be fine, that I could move on, that eventually the pain would fade and life would go back to normal. But I was wrong. The house felt emptier without her. The silence was unbearable. Every room held a memory, a reminder of the love I had thrown away. I stopped sleeping. I stopped eating. I stopped feeling like a person. And the worst part? The other woman? She didn't matter. She was never going to fill the hole my wife left behind. I didn't even want her anymore, because now all I wanted was to turn back time. But life doesn't give second chances. Life doesn't let you undo your mistakes. It only leaves you with consequences. And my consequence was waking up every day knowing that I had destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me. If I could go back, I would. If I could undo every lie, every betrayal, I would. But I can't. So now, all I can do is live with the regret. If you're standing at the edge of temptation, if you're thinking of making the same mistake I did, let my story be your warning. No affair is worth the pain, the regret, the loneliness. No moment of pleasure is worth losing everything you love. So if you're reading this, if you're standing at the edge of temptation, if you think cheating is just a harmless thrill, let my story be your warning. No affair is worth the pain. No secret is worth the regret. No moment of pleasure is worth losing everything you love. I learned that lesson the hard way. Cheating isn't just about betrayal. It's about throwing away the people who love you the most. I lost my wife, my home, my happiness, and for what? A few moments of thrill that meant nothing in the end. If you're even thinking about crossing that line, remember my story. No affair is worth the pain, regret, and loneliness that follows. Learn from my mistake before it's too late. If this story hit you hard, drop a comment below and share your thoughts. And if you want more real-life confessions, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon.